If you entice me with deep turn-based RPG combat, clever puzzles, and jaunty Gaelic folk ballads, you can pretty easily have me eating out of the palm of your hand. The Bard's Tale 4 certainly did for the majority of the 50-ish hours I spent delving its dungeons and enjoying its quirky lore and charming voice acting.
You've been in my dreams 7 nights now, and each one with the same end.
The fact that so much of it is so great made it all the more disappointing that it's hobbled by technical problems too frequently to disregard them.
Thus, children, shall the Sword Father smite all who befriend the old races.
Set in a picturesque storybook land that resembles a romanticized medieval Scotland, but with elves and goblins running around, the straightforward but rousing main quest tells a decent tale of ancient sorcerers, kingly bloodlines, and wicked gods. It can get a little hard to follow at times, as it seems preoccupied with calling back to as many characters and events as possible from the first 3 Bard's Tales, which came out in the 80s. But the small lore snippets discovered in books, notes, and NPC conversations help the setting come alive, even if you have no idea who Tarjan the Mad God is. All along the way, your adventure is accompanied by great voice acting and an excellent soundtrack, featuring some very talented vocalists.
Forever looking homeward, but never going home.
Music is a central element of both the story and the world, as you'd expect in a tale about a bard, and it very effectively unifies and accentuates every cavern in town. Banter between the handful of recruitable party members is plentiful and often pretty funny, reinforcing the welcome, light-hearted undertones.
Drinking honey, so I can become a bear.
These help break up dour dungeon crawls that take you to various dark pits where bones stick out of the walls and everything wants to kill you. When that cornucopia of fiends does come for your blood, though, you're in for a treat. The turn-based combat system is deep and dynamic, with a strong focus on positioning and room for all kinds of different party builds. Everything is laid out on a grid, and specific abilities can only target specific opposing squares based on where the attacking character is standing. It all really clicked for me when I realized my spellcaster's levitation spell, which can relocate any friend or foe to any other square for only 1 spell point, was actually one of the most powerful abilities I had. Each battle felt like an exciting puzzle to be solved using clever movement and making the most of my limited action points.
Can you see?
And it felt appropriately challenging from beginning to end. Rarely did I face a fight that was a total cakewalk, and only a few times did the difficulty spike to the point that it felt irritating. The dungeons and overworld also maintain a great balance of combat and puzzle solving, switching gears regularly so you're rarely forced to do one or the other long enough to get bored with it. Some of the puzzles are a bit overused though. I was definitely tired of these fairy mazes after I'd done about a dozen of them in the same area. But others are memorable and rewarding brain teasers that often require you to really study the environment to find a solution. It's really a shame that, for all the reasons to recommend it, Bard's Tale 4 is so often bogged down with technical issues. Its attempt to replicate old-school dungeon crawlers often leads to frustration navigating the narrow corridors, when it can be unclear where you can and can't walk or where you're supposed to go next. The load times seem almost preposterously long for what you get. The world is definitely stylish, but it's not winning any awards for visual detail. I also ran into fairly regular hitching, unexplained frame rate drops, and a couple crashes to desktop. At its roughest edges, the Bard's Tale 4 shows its retro revival roots in some not-so-positive ways. It may not be special enough for me to easily overlook these technical shortcomings entirely, but it's an RPG that's brimming with enjoyable, challenging fights, elaborate and entertaining puzzles, and plenty of visual and musical flair. And that was more than enough to keep me humming along contentedly to its tune more often than not. For more RPG reviews, check out Valkyria Chronicles 4, Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition, and Dragon Quest XI. And for everything else, stick with IGN.